National Abortion Federation member Alberto Hodari once told an admiring audience of medical students for choice members that he had a license to lie. Exercising that license to lie is one of the things that led to the death of a teenage girl in 2004. This is Christina with the Sisyphean Journal, and today is January 8th. Anybody who's followed the Cemetery of Choice, the Sisyphean Journal, or the Real Choice blog knows that there are some things that really tick me off about abortion clinics. Facilitating sexual abuse of underage girls, ignoring parental involvement laws, even though they know this endangers the girls, lying to patients to get them to go ahead with procedures they don't want, and blowing off life-threatening complications. 4 of those led to the death of 15-year-old Tamia. Now, first of all, Tamia was pregnant at the age of 15 to a 24-year-old boyfriend named Stacy Glenn. His sister is the one that brought Tamia from one clinic to another in the Detroit area, trying to find somebody who would abort her very advanced pregnancy. One abortion clinic reportedly even offered to prescribe prenatal vitamins for this girl. She was so far along. Well, Stacy Glenn, according to Tamia's mother, is also a reputed drug dealer who has not been located since Tamia's death, and he shelled out $2,000 for the abortion that eventually ended her life. So his sister, again, went to 5 different abortion clinics in the Detroit area and was turned away from all 5 because of Tamia's advanced date of pregnancy. She was at least 6 months pregnant. Finally, the sister found an abortionist willing to proceed, Woman Care in Winthrop Village, run by Abraham Alberto Hodari, the darling of medical students for choice, guy who said he had a license to lie. Now, despite the fact that the pregnancy was the result of statutory rape, and despite the fact that he had no permission from Tamia's parents or guardian as required by Michigan law, the clinic agreed to take the case. Tamia used an ID card with another woman's picture, and Tamia's cousin said that Tamia looked nothing like the woman on the ID card. But hey, money's money. You're not going to pass up that $2,000 just because this 15-year-old girl has been knocked up by a 24-year-old drug dealer. Wouldn't want to let that stand in your way. So Tamia's presumably safe and legal abortion was begun on January 7th when the laminaria was inserted. A laminaria are little sticks of seaweed that absorb moisture and expand so they dilate the cervix to make the abortion easier. Now, once she got home, Tamia confessed to her aunt and her mother that she was pregnant and had started the abortion. And it's unclear whether Tamia herself is the one who really balked at the abortion or the rest of her family. But we do know Tamia's mother said that she called the clinic saying that they wanted to stop the abortion process, and staff lied and told her that once the laminaria are inserted, you have to go through with the abortion. And this is not true. In fact, Douglas Carpin, an abortionist in Texas, I listened to a National Abortion Federation tape where he was complaining to his fellow cream of the crop abortionists that those pesky pro-lifers outside the clinic were stealing his patients. He'd insert the laminaria, they'd go outside, spend a few minutes talking to the pro-lifers, decided they want the laminaria removed, and the pro-lifers would take care of it. They'd get a doctor to take care of the removing the laminaria and ensuring that the woman went through the rest of the pregnancy as safely as possible. Now, instead of saying to Carpin There's really something screwy about your informed consent process if walking outside and talking to a bunch of strangers on the sidewalk changes her mind about going through with this abortion. No, they didn't tell him to fix his counseling procedures so that he wasn't starting abortions on women who weren't sure they wanted them. No, they said that he should make them sign a contract agreeing that they will go through with the abortion so that if they change their minds, they wouldn't be entitled to a refund of their fees. Charming, charming people, these National Abortion Federation members, with their license to lie and their crappy counseling and their total lack of sympathy for women who change their minds and do not want these abortions after all. Okay, well, based on this false claim that Tamia had no choice but to go through with the abortion, Tamia's mother drove her to Woman Care on January 8th for the actual procedure. Now, Tamia was bleeding very heavily after going home, so Tamia's mother called the clinic and they told her that the bleeding was normal and said not to bring Tamia to a hospital. Of course, her family ignored this advice, called the ambulance, and they rushed her to Sinai Grace Hospital, but unfortunately, she was dead on arrival. The doctor who performed the autopsy said that the death was caused by uterine infarction with sepsis due to status second trimester abortion, but I ruled it normal because these complications are expected from this kind of abortion. So, no trouble whatsoever for Hodari. Big fat hairy deal. Performed an abortion in violation of parental consent law. Performed an abortion after lying to the patient and saying that she couldn't change her mind. Performed an abortion on an underage sex abuse victim. Blew off her mother's concerns that she was bleeding. This is to be expected. No big deal. Now, citizens of for a pro-life society noticed that there were 23 lawsuits in the past 20 years against woman care facilities and Alberto Hodari for abortion injuries, including complications resulting in hysterectomies on a 19-year-old, a 22-year-old, and a 23-year-old. All of those were dismissed. And Hodari was also implicated in the deaths of Siobhan Williams and Regina Johnson. And at the time of Tamia's death, Woman Care was a proud member of the National Abortion Federation. Stop trusting these people. Just for the love of God, stop trusting them.